Hey guys, it's Jackson here from Titanic Games, and today we're going to be finishing up our inventory system, as well as starting to add some of the items that we can kind of pick up and use. But first thing, we need to just finish up a couple things with our inventory. So what we'll do first is let's go to our UI folder and let's open up our inventory, open up our inventory item, and we'll open up our character too, just for good measure. Okay. Now let's go to our interactables folder and find our item info. Okay, and we'll open this, and we need to add a new variable, and this will be called item index, and we'll make this an integer. Now this variable is going to be used in the inventory for helping us determine which item that we want to remove from the inventory, because say we have or the way it's set up right now, if we were to remove an item from the inventory, it will remove all other items like that item. So we don't want that. We'll go back. I'm just going to save everything here. And we are going to go into our UI inventory now, into the graph. And we'll compile really quick. And we're going to break this get struct. So we'll right click and say, or first we need to break the link. So hold Alt and click. And we'll right click, split the struct. We'll do the same here, split the struct. Okay, and we're just going to plug in everything like this. Okay, but now the only thing is, rather than plug in the index to here, we are going to use the index of our for loop to plug it in. Okay, so that's all we need to do here. Just compile and save. Now we'll go to the UI inventory item, go to the graph. Okay, now instead of removing, like just doing a remove, which as the tooltip says, it removes all instances of the item. We'll get rid of that, and instead we're going to say remove index. Okay, so now the index that we'll remove is going to be, well, we can take our item info here and we can break it, and we'll click on this and just check all these pins so we only have our item index. That'll just make things cleaner. And then plug it in. So there we go. So now it'll only remove the index or the item at a specific index. All right, and then the last thing over here, we actually don't need this, I realized, because we're already clearing it, so we don't need the remove from parent. So you can delete that. Okay. So the last thing we need to do now is go into our base item, right, and go into the construction script, and we just want to plug in our index here to the index. All right. So with that done, we should be ready to go now. Let's actually press play and try out our inventory. So if you recall, over in our character, oh, there is one thing here that is being a problem. Let's fix that. If you just right click and say refresh nodes, I believe that should work just fine. There we go. Okay. So now here it's saying add item to the array, right? Or rather, what I mean to say is we needed to change this from an add unique to an add just normal. So I think originally we had just add unique like that. Now we want just an add. Okay, so plug that in instead of the add unique. I forgot that I did that. And then you should be good to go. So this should be your setup now. Okay, so we can compile and save, and now everything should be good. So we will save it all, and we are ready to start adding some items. So first thing I want to point out is that we've got a bunch of models here that kind of that will represent our items. So we've got like some armor stuff, some food items, a bunch of weapons, and kind of stuff like that. And I'll provide those for you guys, so you don't have to make your own. And then there's some images we've got here. I didn't make any of these, but I just found them. But they're pretty cool, and I'll show you how to find these as well. But anyways, so let's go ahead and go into our interactables folder, and we are going to take our base item, right click, and we're going to create a child blueprint class. So we will call this BP underscore base weapon. Okay, so this will be our weapon item. Okay, so we'll open this up. All right, and over in the item info, we're going to change its item type simply to weapon, and then that's all we're going to do. Okay, it's purely just serving as our base weapon class. Okay, so now let's actually create a folder that will hold all of our weapons. So we'll say new folder, and we'll just call this weapons. So we'll take this base weapon and put it in there, and then just right click and fix up the redirectors, just because sometimes moving folders around or moving items around in folders can leave references behind which cause problems later. Okay, so now we can go into here and we'll right click again and we'll create a child of that one now, and this will be our first weapon. So we'll call this BP underscore how about we do a long sword, because we have a long sword model. We can create another one here called a BP underscore curved sword. Maybe another one called a BP underscore dagger. That might work. Yeah, and that'll be fine for now. Okay, so I'm actually going to close some of these just because we don't really need them anymore right now. But we'll go ahead and open up this first one, the longsword. Okay, and we'll select our mesh here, and we'll change the static mesh to whatever we want it to be. So we have our longsword model, so we can choose that. You can see here it is. It's nothing fancy. It's just a pretty generic sword. So there we go. We've got that. Next, we'll click self, and we'll change up some of the item info values. So item name, we will call this, I guess, longsword. For item image, we'll look for like a sword type image. That one looks like it'll work. And then we can leave the rest. So that's really all we need to change whenever we make a new weapon or item, right? We just change its mesh, we change its, its name and its image. So pretty simple stuff, I think. Next, we'll do the dagger really quick. Similarly, we'll call this dagger. And I don't know, I'll use, this is not a dagger at all. It's hard to see, they're so small. That's a book, so we're not going to use a book. I'll just go with we'll just make it a light, okay, just for the sake of getting things done. Now we'll select our mesh, go here and say dagger. So there we go, we've got a dagger now. And then the last one, we'll take your curved sword, change it to our curved sword. Okay, and then of course we need to name it curved sword, and then I'll make it this curved sword. Okay, so there we go, we've got some items or whatever. So let's go ahead and drag these out into the level now so we can actually pick them up. So we'll take the long sword, move it out. We'll take the dagger, move it out here, and we'll take the curved sword. So there we go. So we've got these items out here ready to interact with and hopefully pick up. So let's go ahead and press play. Alright, so just to check out our inventory, here it is. Alright, we've got our inventory, awesome, and it's it's a 5x5, great. So now if we go and pick up an item, right, we'll press F to interact with it. We've picked it up now, and if we press our inventory, we can see that it's shown up in our inventory. So awesome, right? So we can go pick up some more just like that, and when we press I, it'll show the other ones as well. Now we don't have any like use functions set up, so when I click on these, they're simply going to be removed, but when you click on them, you would do something with them basically. So there's kind of just a quick example of how it works in terms of setting up different items that you can interact with. So basically whatever kind of item you have, right, you'll take your base item, create a child, okay, and then create kind of a base armor or a base potion or a base note or something like that. That's kind of the concept behind it. And then your item types, enum here, this will be for you can just add on whatever other types of items you want. But yeah, so that's that. I guess next what I can show you is also how you can change up the size of your inventory. Okay, so if I press play right now, I hit I, you'll notice that it's only a 5x5, right? But maybe we go to a store and we buy a backpack upgrade, or an inventory upgrade, and it adds more slots. So let's look at doing that really quick. So we'll go into our character, right? And you see here, event pickup, right? It's checking if our length, it's checking this value, our inventory size. And basically, we want to increase our inventory size, like this value, and that will add more not more buttons, but more inventory slots. Okay, so I'm going to add a new function, okay? And we're going to call this just, I guess, increase inventory size, okay? And it's going to take in an input called maybe size to add. I don't know. Maybe that's not a good name. Slots to add. That might be better. And then just make it an integer. Yeah, you can name it whatever you want. I'm really not the best when it comes to naming things. But anyways, basically we'll call this function, and we want to get our inventory size. Okay, and then we're going to say inventory plus the slots to add. Okay. And then after we've done that, we'll drag off and say set inventory size. Oops, there we go. So this little function here is simply going to, increase your size by however many slots you want to add. Okay, so so basically, you could go to your shop owner when you buy, an upgrade for your backpack or inventory, whatever you want to call it. You would just cast to your character and then call this increase inventory size function. Alternatively, you could just do this same functionality except inside the inside the store owner dude, or wherever you buy the upgrade. Yeah, that's actually probably what I would do, but it doesn't matter. It works either way. So for testing purposes right now, let's go ahead and add a simple keyboard event. So we'll add a 1, and we will call this increase inventory size event. So I'll say add 5, just so it adds a nice row. Okay, so now if we press play, I hit I, and we open it up. So now it's only this many, or it's only this many. It's only 25. So now if I hit the 1 key, and now I hit I, you can see it's added another row. And since it's a scroll box, right, that our grid is contained within, we can scroll through. So now if I add a bunch, I'm just clicking it a bunch. Now we have, a ton of different, slots that we can have. So super cool, I think, kind of way to make an inventory. In, later videos, we'll kind of look at maybe, or maybe in another tutorial series, we might look at making this kind of a drag and drop so you can move it around the screen a little bit. That might be kind of cool. Or maybe even different styles of inventories. I know Skyrim's got a pretty cool inventory where you can see the 3D model. So that might be something in the future as well. But anyways, that's pretty much everything. So if we have our inventory open even, since we're in UI and game input mode, we can pick things up and it will add it to our inventory dynamically. So that's pretty cool as well. Alright, well, thanks for watching, guys. In the next video, we'll look at kind of adding some more functionality to our items and, adding more items. And then eventually, kind of doing an equipment system. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, like or subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.